Namaste, welcome to Arthaniti. I'm starting this interesting news segment where we will analyze news that have featured in not only Indian newspapers but also in foreign publications. Now, the idea of doing this is to give a overall view about what is happening in the global markets, to like join the dots and to see the impact of these news on the Indian markets. Correct. Now, today I want to bring to your notice this article with the heading Foreign Car Makers Embrace Chinese Technology. Uh, Before we go on into seeing this article in detail, a little background. Now, Elon Musk, the world's richest man, had tweeted a few days back that he would be visiting India and meeting our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And there was a lot of hue and cry, a lot of news about he setting up a Tesla plant and which state and how states were competing against one another to get that facility in their state. Now, in a surprise statement, he said that he had postponed his India visit due to some operational requirements that he had at Tesla headquarters. Cut to few days later, he landed up in China, which again was an unannounced surprise visit. Now, why, like people started discussing whether he gave priority to China over India. Yes, the reason is obvious. Tesla is already present in China, which is the world's biggest car market. Now, Tesla has a manufacturing facility in Beijing, which is only second largest in the world than its facility it has in the US. So it is one of the biggest manufacturing facilities that Tesla has. Now, in the Chinese market, the market share of Tesla cars was 10%. Thanks to the many new Chinese car manufacturers and the competitive pricing at which they are rolling out electric vehicles, Tesla's market share reduced well below 7%. Tesla's share have been knocking down in the market and nearly halved for the last 2 years. He had he had to prioritize putting his house in order before planning to set up a new house in a different country. Yes, very practical way in which a businessman will do his business. Now, Elon's China visit was basically for two important approvals that he was seeking from the Chinese government. First, he wanted approval for his fully self driving vehicles to be applied on the Chinese roads. Secondly, he wanted approval for data transfer from the Chinese roads to servers outside of China. Now, for any self driving automotive technology, data mapping and navigation are two basic necessities. Now, as per the Chinese government regulations, any foreign company who plans to sell such technology in their country need to tie up with any of their 20 approved companies for data mapping and navigation systems. Tesla entered an agreement with BYD. BYD, all of us know, has overtaken Tesla to become the world's biggest manufacturer of electric vehicles. Now, Tesla has tied up with BYD and has secured approval from the Chinese government for this data transfer. Thanks to these two good news, yes, it was said that his China visit was hugely successful, which reflected in the share price of Tesla coming in the green once again. Now, I want to bring forth to your notice this article which featured in Business Insiders way back in 2010. Now, today, BYD is one of the world's biggest EV manufacturing companies. In 2010, this article, which states that Warren Buffett has a significant investment in BYD, let me just bring you to that article. Now, this article states that just see the way it is written. Okay, it will give you a fair idea about how and what BYD did to reach where it is today. Now, BYD, this article states that it blatantly copied designs of foreign companies, wherein those companies had spent millions and millions of dollars to produce those technologies. Um, and they set up these businesses with low cost, thanks to the low labor and design cost, because they just copied the technology and they, started manufacturing it in China, where labor is known to be cheap, right? Then what did they do? They started selling those products at cheaper rates, ultimately like going past these foreign competitors who had spent more, so their obviously the prices of their products were also on a higher side. And Baidu's just blatantly copied those products, manufactured them at significantly lower prices, captured the market, and set up cash cow products, right? Cash cow is milking the market, started milking the market, whereby they would get heavy cash flows thanks to the low price at which they had priced their products. Okay, so now let's get to this current article which I want to bring to your notice. Now, what I showed you was BYD way back around 10-15 years back started its business by just reverse engineering. They broke down the models and cars of foreign companies and copied their technology as it is, without paying any heed to any patent laws which are absent in China. And with those technology today have become they started milking the market, earning loads and loads, capturing the market, and with that steady cash flow they bettered the technology, and today are selling that very technology back to foreign companies from whom initially they had copied the technology, right? So like, what will you say to this business? Now, this article starts with three examples. Firstly, it tells us about how German Volkswagen, um, which was one of the significant players in the Chinese market, now has done tie-ups with Chinese tech companies. Not only German Volkswagen, but South Korean and Japanese brands have also decided that if they have to survive in this cutthroat automotive market, they have no other option but to buy Chinese technology. Now, Toyota, uh, which is a world leader when it comes to selling cars, has announced that it will enter into a partnership with Tencent, which is again one of the biggest Chinese companies. And so, you, 1 minute. Right. So what is it going to say? It is going to Toyota is going to partnership with Tencent, and for their artificial intelligence and cloud-based softwares in the car. Nissan again is going to tie up with uh, search company Baidu for generative AI in its vehicles. Hyundai, which has suffered reducing sales in China, has also announced that it would develop batteries which with China's CATL. It was a snub for its main supplier, South Korean company SK. Now, see, these are prominent companies when it comes to the automotive market. So you understand how the Chinese market, Chinese companies have captured the automotive market. Firstly, they started off with copying the technology and earning loads and loads of money from it. And with the money, they developed a far superior technology that is available in the market and started selling that technology back to the very companies that they first copied from. Right. So this is how they work. This is how free market works. One other important point that I want to focus on is the see, this is the production of vehicles in China stood at 6.7 million in the first 3 months of the year, 11% higher than the first quarter of 2023, with EV sales up 32% and those of cars with internal combustion engines, our normal cars, up only 3%. So look at the rate at which EV market is growing in China in comparison to the cars, ICE engine cars, right? This is not only going to be the case for with China, but this is going to be a global phenomena where electric vehicles are going to take over the car traditional cars that are being sold to us. See, next, read this. Say for a country like India, where the infrastructure which is needed for charging of vehicles is just picking up, is quite nascent. We have a long way to go to achieve where China is today, right? But many European countries also fearing economic dependence on China. What are they doing is they are setting up trade barriers. They do not want Chinese made vehicles to enter their markets, and therefore they are setting up trade barriers because they fear over dependence on the Chinese companies for their automotive needs. But again, check out this article. I have already told you that the Chinese cars are way cheaper than their foreign counterparts, and if EU has to keep these cars away from their market, they will need to raise tariffs as high as 50% on the cars that are imported from China. Now, is such a tariff possible? Is a very big question. See, the funny part is, even if they even if they impose duties, look at this, what the article says, even if they impose duties in the range of 15 to 30%, the Chinese producers will still be able to generate comfortable profit margins because the cost of their cars is so low that even if with high tariffs which would be imposed by the European Union on these imports, they will still make profit. Now, all this news join the dots and how India features in the EV market. Now, this is an article in the Economic Times which says that Indian EV sales are set to rise 66% this year as compared to the previous year. In India, right now, Tata Motors is the biggest EV player with nearly 2% of its total sales, of the total automotive sales done by the Tata Group. By the year 2030, of all the vehicles that are sold in the country, 30% will are expected to constitute the EV cars, right? So this is a very nascent market right now, but it has a potential of growing very fast, right? Right now, this report also ends stating that a Reuters report says that Tesla has begun production of right-handed driver cars at its plant in Germany, from where it will start exporting to India later this year. But the Indian government has lowered EV import taxes on certain models of car makers if the company commits to investing at least 500 million and start domestic production within 3 years, right? So it was somehow to attract players like Tesla, and in the future we'll see what happens with that Elon Musk visit. And can the question also arises that can Tata Motors do a BYD, or a Mahindra do a BYD? Ethically, I don't think copying foreign players and replicating their technology, milking on that without paying any heed to patents and copyrights is not the way Indian players will want to go ahead in this market. But with their in-house technology, and will they be able to catch hold of this market and become big players, like how the Chinese have captured the automotive market uh, by overtaking all the players which have been in business for which have been in business for over a century. Can India replicate the Chinese model by ethical means, is the question that needs to be checked. I thought of putting this as a video, something different that I tried today. I hope you have liked it. Your feedback on how you thought this video was and where I could improve on making such videos more interesting for you, I would really like to hear from you. Please write in the comments box about how you thought this video turned out and what improvements can be done for the next video. So, until next time, stay safe and like and subscribe to my channel for more such informational videos that I put on Arthaniti. Thank you so much.